think what makes a good entrepreneur is learning. It's the ability to learn really well. It's the ability to, through the multiple stages of a startup, it's to understand what's going on very fast. It's to look at it all and go, okay, like, this is what happened, this is what we can change, this is what we need to do to move forward, and to continue the process. You have to have an insatiable kind of thirst to learn. You have to really want to learn, and you have to be really good at learning. Because if learning isn't a major part of it, then you'll be unconscious of the things that you need to be paying attention to move to the next level. Yeah, the age-old debate, right? I don't think that entrepreneurs are born. I think that if you look at people who say that entrepreneurs are born, you really have to think about the brain physiology behind it, right? You have hundreds of billions of nerve cells that are in your brain innately when you are born. You may have a genetic predisposition to have more energy or be more charismatic, but still, I really like to see the neuroscience behind that and understand like the what the genetic physicist says or whatever that person would be that could understand that and explain that away to help somebody actually to influence somebody to become an entrepreneur and that they're sort of born with it. I really like to see the science behind that. But understanding how the brain works and understanding how those billions of nerve cells connect in a network throughout life and how skills develop, especially being one of them. I was not an entrepreneur, a charismatic, a creative person, growing up. I would really like to, understand that. Like I came back from the war in Iraq in 2008, and I was a mean guy. I wasn't a creative guy. I was never really creative. I was like a recluse. Never wanted to, be creative. I was always afraid of like going out and doing my own thing. I always thought differently. I was always very non-compliant. But that's because, to me, being refractory is smart. If the norm or if the authoritative sort of, norm is ridiculous. So I was always thinking there's always better ways to do things. But as far as the skills that it takes, the critical identifications that it takes to become an effective entrepreneur, and then moving into business, acquiring the skill of learning, becoming conscious of what you need, and becoming like aware that wow, there's all these distinctions that I need to make, and there's massive learning that I need to do, and then taking responsibility for that learning, that's cultivatable, and that's stuff you cultivate. I started reading books about neuroscience and success and entrepreneurship. I started meditating. I reinvigorated my spark when I was 24 and a half, 25 years old, and that's why I became an entrepreneur. I had no plans to do that before that. So I am proof. I am a story, of becoming an entrepreneur when you weren't born with it, right? And being born with it, I'd really love to hear somebody explain away the science behind that. I think that depends on your philosophy. So it really is this black and white to me. You either have the wrong philosophy or you have the right philosophy. So the wrong philosophy is I'm not charismatic, I'm not a learner, I'm not creative, I'm not an entrepreneur, I've never been that, so I can't be that. And I have an external locus of control, meaning I don't control those matters. I don't control that brain function. I don't control that reality, which is the wrong way to think about it. So, about taking responsibility, if you understand that if you're going to become an entrepreneur and you're going to become creative and you're going to become aggressive and all this stuff, then that's your sole responsibility. That the philosophy shift is really the determining factor. That's the difference that makes the difference. If you believe and you understand, you've made that identification, you understand how reality works in that way, that it's up to me to become an entrepreneur, then you have the sort of position to go and learn. Then your brain goes, oh, right? Now I can soak up information. Now I can become this, right? You really ought to look into, if you're somebody who questions that, how belief affects the brain and how, if you think something is the case, how you can go and engage in a way that, makes that the case.